This is today's build, just arrived from Scale Model Scenery. Barn store, you can do a derelict version or the in good working order condition. And this was done and designed by Sam Jones for Peaks47 on YouTube, who works for Scale Model Scenery now. He built one of these on his layout, Whittingdale. It looked the part. Scale Model Scenery really liked it and asked him to do a prototype. And it's now being produced, so nice one, Sam. I'm going to build this up. Chances are I'll be doing it in its derelict form towards the Angel's Dare, the new 009 layout I'm designing at the moment, and I'll be working on World War I layout. So here we have the packaging. Let's get this out and we'll have a look and see what's inside. So I've taken all the parts out. We have the barn sides here and the walls. Then we've got the details for the roof. Very nice on thin little bit of card. It's just flexible, which is very good. This unit is really quite thick. These walls are solid. They're a good size. We also have the doors and the fittings for them. And we do some nice trusses for the roof. I believe that's what they're called. And we have this high quality print for the sides. Details on that are exceptional. So that's the barn store stone texture wraps. And we also have the brick texture wraps. Nicely detailed. We have the instructions. Double O gauge, obviously. Tools required. So I've now looked at all the kit for this. Let's put a little bit more light on the subject. See, I always do these things just sit in my kitchen, the kitchen table. So we have the cutting mat, which was required. A steel ruler. An X-Acto knife, as the Americans call it. A scalpel. So fresh blade in that from one of these. I always like to have a little pair of tweezers. We have the Pritt Stick glue stick. Some of these wee clamps, should they be needed. I think that was like a quid for 5 of these. Some of the paints that I might use, with a sky grey, a flat brown, a khaki and a flat flesh colour, which actually when it's mixed with khaki or brown gives some nice tones. Use that for my wood. I like sometimes having one of these bigger blades. They're handy for cutting tougher parts. The Yoo-Hoo glue, also a little PVA. Always have my trusty Leatherman wave. Say a big thank you to Jason Griffith, Barnabus Junction, for giving us a shout out, and also Lee at the Anfield Road layout in the loft, and Chris at Chris Hale's Heritage Railway, who were kind enough to give me a shout out on their streams and their channels and help raise the subscribers for the Angel Share. So a big thank you to them. And a thank you to further uploads and the layout updates that they do as well. These people are inspirational in my builds and how I approach model railroading. And basically that's it. Big thank you guys. Thanks for all the new subscribers. If I make it to 100, might do something special. A little giveaway or something. That seems to be the end thing on YouTube, which I think is a great thing. It helps interaction for the subscribers and also helps promote your channel, and it's always nice to give away some goodies. So we'll see how that goes in the next month or so. If we can reach the 100 before Christmas, that would be great. What I'll do now is I'll get ready to start cutting these parts out, preparing them, have them ready to glue together, and we'll carry on with this build. Scale Model Scenery barn store build. Be with you in a minute. Cutting these wee tabs out is quite difficult, but I would suggest maybe using a larger blade on this, because what happens is, being that it's quite thick, the little scalpel blade feels a little bit fine and you feel a little bit kind of, will this snap while I'm using it? So I've opted to use a larger blade. And the beauty is, when you look through it, in these areas here, there's just little tags that hold them on. And once you pop the blade through, be careful of the hands. You can hear that satisfying click. So little tiny burrs on there, little tiny parts here. A bit of sandpaper. That smooths them up quite nicely. Beauty of this kit is that it comes with two back walls, one with no door, one with a door, depending how you want to use it. I think I'll go with the door. I'm going to build the kit exactly as it says, and then we'll look at doing little additions, weathering, adding stuff to it at the end. But we'll follow the instructions and show it completed as it comes out the packet. I'll carry on and cut these out, and then I'll get back to you when I'm going to start gluing it all together. Now I've cut the wall sections out. The way I've done it is that barn door's going to be on this side, and then there's going to be a personnel door on the other side. We have a wrap we can put on the inside of this wall, specifically for the derelict building, so when you look through the roof, you have this here. Then obviously we've got this version for the one with the door, this one without the door, and then the outside of the building with the door, and then the wraps around the rest of the walls. So great kit so far on stage 3, where we're assembling the building like so. Now this fitting is really snug, it's excellent. I think this is laser cut wood. Now I don't have the jig, the SX002, for holding this at 90 degrees, but because I have 90 degree angles all on this board, I'll line the building up with that. I will go with the recommended PVA glue to hold this together. So we'll get that glue together, have the end wall supports to do for part 3 of this, where you can either use a little bit of U-Hoo or the Pritt stick. I'll probably go with the Pritt stick on one end, see how that adheres, and we'll take it with there. So we'll crack on and we'll get these parts glued together. One thing I should note is that this part here should be on the front, on the outside. I had it on the inside. So just always double check before you glue everything, make sure you've got everything the way around that you want it to be, and that way you won't go wrong. No point in gluing all that, then seeing that this part that was on the outside is on the inside. It's to mark the area for the door, the roller shutter, which they've built in such a way that you can actually move the door to position it. But we'll get there and we'll see how that works. We'll try and build the door, the frame, the roller wheels all as one part, and then we'll put it together and see if we can stage it. But it's a lovely kit. The wood's really thick on it, it's solid. It's very well done. So let's get this glued together. For gluing this together, what I like to do is a little cotton bud, blob of glue on it, and then we're going to work our way around the edges of these wall panels, just a little blob on each to put it together. So let's get that part done. Use an old lid off a water bottle to keep your glue in, rather than pouring it straight from the bottle onto the wood. Goes everywhere, makes an awful mess. So let's get this put together. That's the glue on. So we'll get the next part stuck to the end wall, the gable end. the wraps that I cut out, just use the scalpel blade to make sure we get into these little corners here. Nice sharp blade, trims that really well, and you can see they've got little ends that they fold over into as well, and they recommend on the edges marking it with a coloured pen or pencil to take away the white paper. So I've done 2 of them to go on either end here, and then they get wrapped over. So we'll let this glue go off before we carry on with the next part. What I like to do with these is cut them out first, and then with the scalpel just gently with the eyeball and a steady hand gently cut out these parts, small incisions. So on and so forth. These are the 2 I actually need. We have this one, which will go on the door there. Then we get this one. So get these put on, see how they look, and take it from there. That's these little panels cut out. They have little black lines marked in here, and when you score it with a scalpel, you then can fold under. So you can see, so these will then fold around the walls. Put that on there, and these will fold down on the inside. So even just putting that there, you can see the quality of print, the fading from where the door would sit. Really is an excellent kit. Top notch SMS, design Sam Jones. So yeah, come back to that. We'll start getting the end parts on before we start doing the sidewalls. So move on to the next part of this vid. So putting the end walls in place, put them on, basically line them up square, gently fold over the tabs so they're like so, then get a good ruler, give them a better crease, round. I promise I will get a tripod eventually rather than hold and work, but yeah. So you can see there, start folding them over, get a better angle, fold, so when you put it on, it'll stick in place. But already you can see just how good this is going to look. Yeah, very impressed. Keep repeating myself, but yeah, you know what I mean. So we'll carry on, do that for both ends, get the folds over, get some Pritt stick on it, stick them on. When applying your glue stick, a lot of people put it straight on there, and then it can get quite messy and gumpy and gloopy and whatnot. I'm actually going to put it on there and then rub a little bit around the edges and the sides of it, and then put the paper straight onto there. So we'll see how that goes. Just purely for application and handling this bit of paper and getting it all covered in glue, we want to preserve this as best we can till we're finished, and want to add weathering to it. Don't want any big glue globules all stuck on it. So we'll see how that goes. I'll do that end with the glue, and the other end I'll do the glue on the paper, and we'll see what one works out best. That's it with the glue on it. So let's get paper on it. You can see that it's glued nicely, with no glue marks on it. Stuck down nice and flat. Remember, these little fold round parts, you're going to have these parts covering them too. So yeah, that's one end done. Let's get the other end done. That's the second end on. See, that's nice and flat. as is that end. When I tend to do modelling, something I picked up from when I tattooed for many years. Tattoos have what's called a dirty hand and a clean hand. You've got a hand that the glue sticks to, and you've got the hand with no glue. So when you're dealing with these edges and you're rubbing them on, you know you've got, this is the clean hand. Then if you need to get anywhere near the glue, you use the dirty hand. So I tend to do that in my modelling as well, so I don't get any glue on the surfaces as best I can. End of the day, it's about enjoying it. But these are just little tips that I picked up, so try and remember that. Have a clean hand and a dirty hand, and then that way you've got one that's got all the glue and the paint on it, and then the other one can handle without making a mess or putting any glue or paint on something. So that's the ends on just now. I'm going to leave it there just now, let that dry in, and let the PVA go off properly in this building. Let it all solid up, then we'll come back, start putting these panels in. We have the roof trusses to go, and we also have the tiles that we're getting put on. They were getting painted in accordance with how Sam done it. He built this example for scale model scenery, so you can see how the tiles are darker there and weathered. Looks great, guy's done a superb job on it. So we'll try and create something similar along those lines. Introduce a little bit of painting to the build, and what we do with the wooden doors and the frame and the roof tiles, how to get that nice effect. Black, grey, grime, and I like the little bit of green that he's got growing on the tiles as well. So we'll come back and carry on with this once everything's set off in YouTube land. That'll be 1 second. On the edges of the paper, what I've decided to use is a silver pencil. Figured that was the best. I've already done that side. See if you can get the light on it. So you can see the white edges away on that corner, and you can see on that side it's white. So let's put a grey edge on that. That's it, with the silver on the side of it. So it helps take away, oops, wrong side. So there we go, we get the silver. Just rub it along the edge. Takes away the white. White doesn't look as noticeable. Just a little bit of silver on there. Or any kind of light brown pencil, light grey pencil. Just so happened I had silver to hand, so I thought I would use that. So I'll do the same on this side, and I do this sheet. I'm just going to go over the side of that just now with a silver pencil. There we go, I've taken that, see the silver pencil there. Do it on that side as well. It's highlighted because it's silver with the light source that's coming from just there. If we do it that way, you can see there's no white edge on it. It's silver. Makes a lot of a difference, that. We'll add some weathering powders and stuff to it anyway. Just dust it off lightly. Make the brickwork, which is already weathered excellently, this stonework. We'll just add a little bit to it at the bottom. So we'll carry on getting this fitted, cut out the other parts and put it all together. Now for painting and weathering the roof trusses, the supports, the barn door, the support and the back door. Going to use flat brown on this one, very watered down. Going to put a lot of water in, mix that up, because the detail on this is really fine, as you can see. So acrylic's quite thick, will fill in those gaps, and you'll nigh on, you won't see the panels So going to put on a very thin wash of this flat brown on all of it. Even though the texture of this wood's amazing, those little supports are quite light, so we're just going to get it all to one colour and then start weathering it. So let's get the paint mixed up, get these items painted, and get back to you soon. So I've used some flat black XF1, the Tamiya paint, put a little splash on the door, on the runner support. It's a metal frame painted grey with a little bit of kind of black washed over it. Some black done on the door, the grey frame round about it. A little bit of black on the trusses to darken that up, as well as some light grey highlights on it. Done the same on that door, a little bit of black. So yeah, it's coming together. These details make a difference on a build like this rather than just leave it the flat wood colour. So we'll start putting all this together, get the trusses in and take it from there. I've fitted the roof trusses in and you can see that they look pretty good, and the cross beams as well. A little bit fiddly, quite tight to get in, especially the fact that I put in a different card and had to cut little slots in the card for the trusses to fit through into the actual laser cut slots that's in this as well. So you can see that it's quite effective. And what I've also done is just I've put a little bit of glue in here just to hold one end down. This is all dry fitted. I haven't actually put any PVA on it, such as the fit in my case, where it's all just kind of push fit and held into place. I might go around with a little bit of PVA glue, touch in some little spots just to hold it firmly in place. But that's where we're looking so far. Next is to get the tiles on and get this door on here as well. I've not put the frame on as per instructions because I figured when I done a test fit of these trusses that they were quite difficult to get in, and when you're pushing with your thumb on here you could quite easily flick off the metal rail that holds the barn door. So what I've done is left that to a later process, decided to get the roof done first and then put the door on at the end, then add some weathering, and hopefully you can see that okay. The sun's come out. So we'll carry on, get the rest of that put together, start putting the roof tiles on, then get the barn door on, then do some light weathering to it as well. So here we have a few of the roof tiles put on so far. What you've got to do is, when you break off these strips, they actually just kind of snap away from each other quite easily. Just be careful they don't go ripping the tile sheet in half, which I haven't done. They're delicately held in place, so it's easy enough to snap. But here we have 4 rows of tiles. Cut the tile strips and put some singles on to start doing the disused, worn down, run down look. And I will run over some of the edges with paint. Some are still showing a little bit of the card where I've cut it, but you can see it's starting to take shape, and with the roof trusses showing through, I'll probably have a hole in this area here and a few loose tiles on the other side. But yeah, generally it's coming together, looks really good. We'll carry on. Some more work done on the roof. What I've done is I've went about with my scalpel and lifted up certain tiles just to try and give the tone a little bit of a variation. So really all you're doing is just getting your scalpel under one tile, lifting it up, and then when it comes to weathering, these tiles will stand out a little bit more than the other tiles. So yeah, you can see the effect there, how the tiles are coming together with a few lifted up. Makes it look a little bit more derelict, because the tiles do come very kind of flat, smooth. So just to vary it up a bit, that's how we do it. I actually saw Jason Jensen's drains. He does these sorts of techniques for shingles and tiles, so I thought I'd incorporate that into this build. We'll carry on and we'll get the other side done, and then get the door on, see how it goes from there. here I have the roof finished. All the tiles that are out of shape, out of position on both sides. Put in the support for the door. Now I just need to paint this, weather it, get the roof looking kind of old, put the door on, maybe add some form of scatter or something. But yeah, this kit's amazing. And the instructions were right, you do put the door on at the end. Just me misreading them, jumping back and forth as you do. And yeah, we'll carry on, get this painted up. That's it so far. Couple of holes in it, as I said, going on my 009 layout. It's just going to be a bore based one, so this has maybe suffered some damage due to the action, or it just be a state of distress from years of not being used. World Scenics weathering powder, concrete dust. Just adding a little bit on. Just a little short brush, a brush I cut down, so it's about 7mm long, but it's quite stiff. Ideal for just rubbing some of that dust in. Just a little bit here and there. Because it's a building, I won't lacquer it. Won't be handled that much once it's on the layout. See it starting to look more dishevelled. I'll do some on the walls down here, a little bit round the door, do a little bit in here with the door. I'll be half on, half off, a little bit here as well. So I'll carry on with that, get this finished. That's it unweathered, that's it weathered, weathered, some more weathering on that side. So it does come pre-weathered, looks pretty good, but just to darken it down even more, to show it more distressed, I'll add more weathering powder so it looks more like that. I thoroughly enjoyed this build. I'd like to thank Sam at Peaks47 on YouTube, also Justin and Tina at Scale Model Scenery for taking Sam's build and giving us a chance to do it by recreating this wonderful kit. So like, subscribe, comment. See you next time. Bye.